great. It was like a summarization of the entire teaching, um, with just that, and some background, of course. That's great.
Yeah,
That's
the
all you
last
need.
few talks have been like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really good. Because I got two new people, Rahul and there's a lady named Karen who has read Selfless Self twice, all the way
Hmm.
through. So she wanted to be. She said she may not be able to come to the meetings, but she's going to get the recording, and she's staying
Great.
on top of it.
Good, good.
It's nice to be able to reach all those people even if they can't be here, physically.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Karen, she found me on Facebook. So she said, be a friend on Facebook. And I said, I saw all the friends she had, and I saw they were, people that I would, So I thought, okay, I don't always confirm everybody, but I did. And then she said, oh, I want to be part of this thing. So.
Good, good.
What's nice is the weather's so lousy, you might as well stay home and meditate.
That's good.
This is Manohar.
Oh,
Hello,
Manohar.
hello.
Hey, John. Hey, Kathleen. Yep. Andrew.
Hello, Manohar. Are you in India now, or are you back?
Yeah, no, I'm in India, sir.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Oh, what time is it? It's tomorrow in India, right? I mean, it's, isn't it Wednesday?
It's, where I stay, it's 5:50 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we had a gentleman from Bangalore last week, and he was getting up at 5, because of the 10-hour time difference.
Yep. Yeah, I heard him. Yeah, last week. No, I was here for the past 3 weeks. I was here.
Oh, okay, great.
12.
You're at the ashram?
No, man, I still haven't gone there, John. Still in Hyderabad. So my father was undergoing the chemo session, so just trying to be near him.
Okay.
We have another person here, another participant too.
Oh, wow, look at that.
My
Cute cat.
Yeah, some animals have been known to wake up. Ramana Maharshi's cow, Lakshmi. I don't know. I don't know how an animal wakes up, but
I think my other cat she came to every satsang at my house. And when Muji walked in, she always respectfully sat, and he respectfully sat in front of the other, the teacher. And when Muji sat down, he took one look at Muji and jumped on his lap.
No.
Wow.
Finally, after an hour, Muji had to just shove him off because he wasn't going to leave.
John, you have the day off tomorrow?
No,
No?
no. We're in transition right now, so the new members are coming in and everything is, so we don't get any time off. We're on a leave restriction, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. So you have a lot to do.
Yes.
And that's a big.
Yeah, big changes in the house.
Well, I know this sounds kind of like a broken record, but I was at a luncheon group just this week, and what I realize notice is aging is such an issue, and aging is an issue because body fear, fear of it's all around body identification and fears around what's happening with the body and blah blah. And I can't say that I wasn't part of it.
Well, I mean, when you feel yourself getting caught up in that kind of stuff, that's when you just kind of, go back into that sense of presence. And that's the waking up in the dream feeling. You're sitting there talking, but then you just kind of relax and you feel that sense of presence. And then it's like waking up from the dream. Oh yeah, that's the reality. I can still carry on this conversation and do all this kind of stuff, but I know the reality.
That's been my experience here, actually. Just dealing with the things here. It's kind of like doing the mantra, listening to different things, reading a little bit, meditating, and then, taking walks or whatever. And just basically, it's just something you mentioned last week that you said everyone is you. So that's the feeling I have here. Like I'm looking at my sister, my mother, and everything. It's like me. So what I'm doing for them, I'm doing basically for me. Like I feed them, I'm feeding myself. Being with them, I'm being with myself. And it's kind of like there's just that sense of just I don't know. There's no sense of a me there. It's, doing one thing or another. It's just, as you said last week, for instance, like. You walk into a room with 7 people, which one are you going to be? They are yourself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the feeling I've been having here. So, which is it's very relaxing, actually, very peaceful. So.
Yeah, when you're remaining with the just I, and not identifying with anything, and thoughts are coming and going, but you start to experience yourself formlessly. Basically, you're no longer having the pressure of Andrew and how Andrew, and then you can relate quite nicely to everyone else because there's not a position anymore. It's just kind of a nice flow.
Right.
Simply because you're not taking a position of being in a body. And you know yourself as this formlessness. And that's even, you were saying mantra, or Trish, Nisargadatta Maharaj says, go into the I am. That's kind of waking up from the dream, because you can wake up from the dream by impressing your formless reality. And, instead of this body and concepts and illusion and I am somebody else in a situation that's arising, you may feel yourself start to get pulled into it, but no. Then you just pull back. And that's the same as waking up from a dream. Because you've seen in the dream, it was just dream. And when you pull back and you remain with your selfless self, even in these kind of troubling atmospheres, you don't take the impression of the atmosphere. Instead, you impress your selfless self, your formless reality. And it's like waking up, because it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is something, but it's really nothing. I'm just here, and it's okay. And then there's no mind, ego, intellect being, because you're remaining in that prior to beingness. And then the prior to beingness, how can you be in conflict with anything or anyone? It's really not possible. So remaining prior to beingness, and if you are trying, you're talking or something, and like Trish was saying, they're talking about aging and all this kind of stuff, and it's starting to feel some pressure of, I am a body that can age. No. Just remain with yourself. Just remain with yourself. And that's kind of like waking up from a dream. Okay, all this illusory stuff is just illusion. That's right. I remain with the seer. All the seen is illusion. And I just remind myself gently and nicely, remaining with my selfless self rather than giving myself away to these passing thoughts and ideas. Ideas and thoughts are going to come and go, but I don't take the touch, and I don't allow them to impress or build upon body knowledge, which, you know, fear and all this sort of stuff.
My mother, you know, like in a certain sense, she's like my guru. And, you know, just observing how, you know, like basically because she doesn't have that mental presence of mind, it's just, you can see consciousness, how it clings, how it hangs on. It wants to continue at all costs. It's really, you know, and you know, like I know that that's one of the things that's, you know, Nisargadatta speaks about, that consciousness, I guess it's because it's identified with the body, will continue as long as it possibly can, will do anything. And it's just watching that phenomenon, and it happens within me too, but it kind of like it's a mirror for me to look at myself. And, you know, so basically, you know, I guess you begin to divorce yourself from the consciousness. You can watch it in your own self, how it wants to survive and so forth. And as one draws away from it, and, you know, like as I get a sense that that's not who I am, that whole thing kind of begins to sort of break down. You know, there's a certain freedom from it, actually. It's still there, functioning, but at the same time, it's like you're the witness of it. You're not really sort of caught up in it anymore. So, you know, that's been kind of like what's been going on around here for the past few days.
Well, and remember, consciousness, all the objects, you know, your mom, you, the hospital, all of that, yeah. These are objects in consciousness, right, that are observed, and they're in consciousness, so that consciousness is appearing to you. And this consciousness is where the form can actually, the manifestation, so to speak. Mm-hmm. The unmanifest becomes manifest through this consciousness. But it's not an individual consciousness. It's consciousness that you're observing is consciousness. And the only thing that consciousness can do to observe consciousness is just that sense of presence, that spontaneous feeling of I, just I, just I. And then that's consciousness observing consciousness. rather than the
Right.
objects in consciousness.
Yeah.
And that's where Maharaj says, no experience, no experiencer, because you are, this consciousness has appeared to you, and now all of these objects, including the object that you are believing yourself to be, are appearing in consciousness.
So it's basically simply, observing being conscious of the consciousness, I guess, or awareness of the consciousness, just seeing how it's functioning without really anything to say about it.
And knowing that there's no inside and outside.
Yeah.
That there's no, like, I'm viewing consciousness in my mind,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
my mind is actually consciousness where these objects are appearing and this story is running inside of this consciousness that's appearing to you.
Right.
There's something in the nothing, Maharaj would say.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely nothing. And what you were speaking about too, how Maharaj talks about the ants, once there's this, I exist, then that I exist is identified with I exist as this form, then all the conceptual layers get on top of that. But when I exist as this form, then I need to make sure that this form keeps going, because this is the first time I ever knew of my existence was in form. So there's the pressure that when this form goes, I'm gone, because there's no knowing until the form state. Until that something in the nothing stirs and there's a movement in the nothing, then there's no knowing.
Right.
And then there's a knowing of something, but that something is not actually anything, but there's the knowingness, I exist in this something. But the truth is, this something is appearing to that nothing that you are.
And that something is the consciousness.
And all of the whole form, because you talk about the formlessness and the form. And all of the form, the bodies, all of these things are the consciousness and that presence. Everything appears in your spontaneous presence. Only the seer is true. And everything that's seen, including this body form that I'm supposedly seeing from, is inside the bubble of illusion, this consciousness, this conscious presence that's appearing. But there was nothing, but see that nothing there, in order for there to have been something, there had to have been something in that nothing that appeared as something.
Right.
Just like the waking up, going to sleep and going all through the night and then waking up. There was a continuum. You didn't just go to sleep and disappear and then wake up. No, there was a continuum. Otherwise, you wouldn't have experienced waking up. There has to be something there to experience waking up in order for you to experience waking up. There has to be someone to whom waking up appears.
Yeah, appears, yeah.
So there has to be something to which, I exist appears. And that's why Maharaj says, how you were prior to beingness, I don't know. I don't know. I'm there, but I'm formless. I have no knowingness. I have no objects of knowing and nothing to be known. But there had to be something there to say I exist. Something found out it existed, and that something is you, which is the background of everything, which is nothing. And that sounds kind of Dr. Seussish, but it's like, the something that was nothing. But in other words, in order to say I exist, something has to be there to say I exist. To find out your existence, there has to be something there. And that's why when there's no more belief in body, you're existing formlessly, and then whether body's here or not, you've already touched your formless existence. You know that you're that something that suddenly knew I exist, but I needed an object in this consciousness, in this illusion, to know existence. And yet existence was there. It was only known when the form world and the illusory world appeared.
Right.
And the only issue is that identification of I exist attached to this body. Rather than just I exist, just I. I exist, but I have no idea as what I exist, or who I exist, or what is this existence, other than this just I, just I. And waking up in the morning, you have that feeling of just I, because that's your most natural state, that you're kind of waking up from that peacefulness that you were in a no-knowing state. You didn't know anything about yourself or the world or anything. And then you begin to wake up, and it's kind of carried through because you're there for that feeling of just I to appear too. And that's how you know. That's the spontaneous conviction. Oh, so that I always am. Whether body's here, whether world is here, this world, this body appeared on my spontaneous presence. Without presence, there could be no world. Therefore, I am. World or no world. Body or no body. But I'm just not what I believe or think myself to be. I simply am.
But after the body dissolves, goes away, there's a knowing, but there's not anyone knowing. So there's no, there's just the isness, right?
Well, you have to know yourself through the body form. Once there's no body form, then there will be no knowing, because there will be no objects of knowingness. There'll be nothing to know. Again, if you talk about the consciousness, everything that you see, everything that's done, all of this in the dream or in the waking is in the consciousness. And then this consciousness appears to you, but only for a time. And yet you had to be there for the consciousness to appear. Everything that you know, your entire world and all the things that you see, all the doings that you've ever done are in this consciousness, this bubble of illusion, and will be gone just like that. But you will remain. But all the things that were in the consciousness, you never were. You're just moving all this kind of stuff. So none of that ever happened. This consciousness appeared to you, and now it's not, and now it's gone. Simple. And everything that is appearing in this bubble of illusion, in this consciousness, never was. It was the something that appeared for a time in that nothing. That's why the dream example is very good. All of this and your whole life and every person you've ever met and your entire family and your mother and all your experiences and all that have occurred inside this dream, in this consciousness. And then you wake up. So all of that never was. Therefore, there's no fear of dying because you were never born. You were never born. You never actually attached to any bodies. You never actually did anything. All of these things are just appearances on your spontaneous presence. You're formless, and everything that's in form is absolutely illusion and should just be discarded. And that's why then you say, oh, but you still need to do this or that. No, you really don't. Because you are just in this bubble of illusion. When you break free of the bubble of illusion, then you just know yourself in that just I, that formlessness, that formless reality where form is appearing, but it can easily be discerned. Oh, we talked about how the mind can sit there and say, this is black and white. And you know the world in color, but the mind is presenting thoughts to you in black and white. You're going to ignore them. And that's how you just brush aside everything. There is nothing that is needing my attention in the moment. And then it's spontaneous action because you're not believing yourself to be an actor. You know, actually, that you are just an actor, but not an actor that's acting specifically. Just in the moment, the scenes are being read as you're having whatever is happening. But you're not worried about outcomes. How? Why? And that's why if you do get lost in the illusion at any time, you can go back and just, mantra, remain with your selfless self, remain with the I am, and just remind yourself that it's absolutely illusion what's going on right here. And remain with your formlessness. And that'll be waking up from the dream, because you'll intensely, automatically realize all of this that I'm being bothered with in this moment is absolutely a dream. And it'll cease, because your mind will stop pressuring you with I am somebody and this has to be done. Because you'll just remember, I'm absolutely formless and all of this is occurring in form. And once this form instrument, this telescope into the form reality is gone, it disappears. So why am I bothered in this moment about this seemingly important thing that is not? And yet, do your job, do your duties, but never get lost in the illusion again. Never. Never, 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 never. No matter how interesting the illusion is, you impress your formless reality on yourself. No, this is illusion. It doesn't matter. When we're talking about our health issues and all that, we're talking about the unborn child. How is your formless reality going through health issues? And if your body does, okay, well, it's neighbor's child. Take care of it, but don't cry about it. Okay, this body's gone. I simply am. And that's why Maharaj says to know yourself in a real sense is the entire purpose of spirituality. All these books, all these things, all this everything is just telling you, accept your selfless self. There's no God, no Brahman, no Atman, no Paramatman, no Master. Nothing is there. Now you have to have the courage to face this reality. In the next moment, you will have a choice between impressing your reality or impressing the illusion. And the illusion is all the illusory layers, and it starts with, I am somebody. And that I am somebody is the virus that then just goes crazy with conceptual viruses. And meditation is the antivirus. It slowly, silently, and permanently erases all the illusory concepts down to that first concept, I am somebody else. Even I exist is not exactly correct.
Because there's someone there to say that I exist, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah. A somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when you have a somebody, you have a something that you got to do. You mentioned that last week.
Absolutely. Somebody comes along with, just like we talk about, especially during the holiday season, how they say, the toy something comes with like little shoes and a suitcase and all these different accessories. I am somebody else comes with thousands of accessories that are not wanted or needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why literally the waking up from the dream can happen at any time, because you're, whatever's happening, no. I remain there. Mantra, inviting the attention of the invisible listener, impressing the reality, that spontaneous presence, that feeling of just I, and forget about whatever it is. And then that's the sensation of waking up. As you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, it was just a dream. And you don't even have to say it was just a dream, because when you're prior to beingness, prior to the mind arising, prior to logic, prior to mind, ego, intellect, you don't have to say it's just a dream. It's just a knowing automatically that, oh, wait a minute, this is not. I am, this is not. And I am not this or that. Just I. And anything that appears on that I, whoop, erase with mantra. And anytime you're lost, just, again, you're waking up from the dream. This is because consciousness, whether sleeping or waking, it's just consciousness. So I just know, and nope. Remain with myself. No matter what it is, because see, the world is your spontaneous projection. And through the filter of thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and all this is how you're perceiving the world. If you perceive you're an I am somebody else, an object in a world of objects, then that's when all the trouble starts. Instead, you keep that just I, just I, just I, and there's no impression of body because there's no body knowledge. There's no me that has to do anything because I'm just formlessly aware. And scenes are appearing before, and each scene is not even registered. It's just up, pick up the water, drink, put down. Up, go to work, do this, do this. Up, this is coming in front of me, do this. Okay, it's finished. Okay, time to go home, get him, go do. That's it. Nothing serious. How can it be serious? And if you start to feel the pressure of seriousness for any reason, wake up from that dream. Because it's just a little dream that you're having that I am somebody else and this is a very serious thing and it really requires a lot of attention. No. I need to remain with my selfless self, and then from there, put forth the whatever needs doing. Do your job, do your duties, do whatever deeds are in front of you, but without a doer. Without any outcomes, without any expectation, because what expectation, what outcome? I don't know, and this is in front of me and I'm putting this here. Like a factory assembly line worker who's building a whole car and all he does all day long is just rivet one little screw. That's all your whole life. Just do this right here. I have no idea what I'm building or what's happening. I'm just doing this.
Yes, I really am.
And what you are building is only illusion anyway.
Exactly. So I have no vested interest in the illusion that is being created in front of me.
A whole lot to do about nothing, you know.
Yeah.
What to do about? Where have I heard that before?
And when there are other body forms that are coming to you and you don't need to take a body to talk to, is speaker and listener are one and the same. And when I know that, how can I be mad with this other person? Even if they're behaving or acting not right, I go back to, just a dream, just I, not going to take the touch. Oh, look, they're no longer in my presence. Okay, this is good. Rather than get all angry and then pressure the mind about, it's just not worth it. Why? And still take care of the body. You know, like I said, I've started going to the gym. And I go to the gym and I do these things and all that, but there's no it's just, again, it's pick up the water and drink. Okay, pick up this weight and do this. Okay, work on the bike and this and that. But there's not a me doing it. It's just a natural flow. There are scenes appearing and disappearing on my spontaneous presence. A spontaneous action without any credit being taken afterwards as a sense of doership.
So you decided that you go to the gym, but that's only like a, a spontaneous, action that came out of nowhere, and you just followed it.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the gym, and I do have like a little routine, but it's like, okay, I sit on the bike, boom. Okay, I do the bike and I watch one TV show. Then I go and I work out and I do these different weights, whatever it happens to be, what day it happens to be, whether it's back or whatever. But it's not intensely thought about. It's using the mind for what the mind is supposed to do. Okay, let's put this number of weight, or let's do this number of repetition. But it's not a thinking mind, and it's not an I am somebody else or impressed upon me. And I'm definitely not self-conscious, like looking around like, oh, does everyone think that I'm lifting, or do I look too old to be in a gym? None of these kinds of things are happening. But that's the self-consciousness that could arise of these thoughts are traveling through. I am somebody else, and there are others, and how do I look, or what is, but see, that's the idea, is that there is no idea. There's no idea about a you. It's just I. Go to the gym, go do this, get in the car, be in traffic, do all these different things but you're not taking the touch of being someone in a world that has to make something happen, because that's the illusion. And again, ultimately, everything, every moment of your life is in the bubble of illusion, is in consciousness. Every waking moment of everything you've ever seen, everything you've ever done, all the everything is in consciousness, and consciousness appeared to you. That nothing, this is the something. And the world is, you know, we talked about before, this body is 5 elemental body, and it's just a body factory. You know, talk about the parents, they ate food, then there was this, you know, getting together, this union, and then this glob of food was created. And this glob of food was fed more. And then suddenly there was this awakened sense of, oh, I exist, and I exist as this form. And this form has now been labeled John. And John is doing good things, and John is doing bad things, and told that he's doing and keep doing John and this and that. And John goes through his life believing he's John. But it's a formless consciousness that's the holder of the body. But you're not a body at all. And the body ages, the body goes through, like Maharaj says, the young man, old man, well, child, young man, old man, and then dissolves back into the 5 elements. But you don't age. You can't age. You're formless. Spirit is formless. Presence is formless. There's no aging. There's no, what age are you when you're not in body form? If you're not measuring yourself in body form, how old are you? There's a question, because how old can you be? If you're not measuring yourself in body form, there's no time. There's nothing. Not even the word eternal will be appropriate for that, because there's nothing to measure yourself against. You are all of everything, appearing as all these little somethings. And as long as you don't believe that you're a limited something, and you know you're all of everything, then it doesn't matter. And you don't have to sit there, oh, I'm all of everything. You don't even have to think about that. You just have to keep everything. This is illusion. I remain with myself with self, being with you always, as Maharaj says. And then naturally you'll be normal, be simple, be humble, because who are you going to impress? Who are you going to strive and struggle with or against? It doesn't make sense.
It seems as though you have to live as though you're dead.
Live as though you were never even born. You don't understand the concept of birth and death. You live prior to the concept of birth and death, formlessly.
Well, is that the freedom of that? Because then you can do anything you want as long as it doesn't create a somebody.
Anything you want is not it's everything that you think that you want is going to create an I am somebody else and create problems.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's nothing you could possibly want, and then like it's talked about, I think Lakshmi or whatever, if you want nothing, then everything we talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. It's like a Christmas gift. Every moment is Christmas because you don't want anything and you're given these gifts all the time. Oh, look, they're having meatballs for lunch. Oh, yay. That kind of everything is a gift because you don't expect. You don't have this like expectations or wants or anything because there's not a you that wants anything. So in every scene is a gift. And then you're living basically heaven on earth because everything is yours. Everything you could possibly want, since you want nothing, everything that's there is like a gift. It's special. It's Christmas every day.
Well, that's the freedom, it seems like, because you're not constrained by all the wants and dislikes.
And see, again, you don't want to have an individual position that doesn't want anything. There's no wants because
Right.
There's no you, and there's no concept of because I'm a form, I desire things for this form. That's the key. If I believe I'm somebody else and I believe I'm this body form, then I perceive the world through this body form, and this body form wants this. It needs this. All needs, all requirements came along with the body. And when body knowledge is impressed, I am a body, then wants or needs will be impressed as well.
Yeah, you don't want to be a somebody trying to be a nobody.
Exactly. Yeah. That would be terrible, actually. Oh, I'm nobody. No, that doesn't bother me at all, but I'm here. It's bothering, and then not bothering is bothering.
That's why you have to tell the truth about it because, oh, gee, I'm supposed to be nobody, so let me be nobody.
Exactly. But then you're going to get tired of being nobody and then explode. It's like, okay, I'm done being nobody for right now. I need to be somebody because I'm not getting my needs met being nobody.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's a tricky.
You have to. You can use the concept like I don't exist, for instance. I mean, like I am nobody. It's kind of like as a reminder of where you're, pointing you to, like basically like a mantra, kind of like pointing you. It's still an illusion.
Absolutely.
But it's basically, yes, pointing you in the right direction.
That's what I just talked about, waking up from the dream. Whenever you're starting to give yourself away, you wake up from this dream by impressing your reality. Oh, yeah. No. I'm formless. Accept your selfless self. There's no God, there's no Brahman, no Paramatma, no master. Nothing is there. And I can hear Maharaj say that, so that pulls me away from illusion. Don't fall into the illusory ditch. You can hear Maharaj say that. These things are okay because you're not trying to project an image of being nothing. You're trying to impress the reality on your selfless self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's something you have to realize. It's not something the mind can do. The mind can't decide to do like a strategy of some sort.
Well, once you know yourself in the real sense, even for a moment,
Yeah.
without mind, without ego, without intellect, without body, you're formlessly aware with just I, then you know, oh yeah, this formlessness, this is myself. All of this that's appearing is on my spontaneous presence and its illusion. I remain there. And we talked about closing your eyes, and immediately you can still see without the physical eyes. So you just eliminated the body. Then you remain there and you start to watch thoughts and images appear on the screen. So you know that you're also prior to mind because you can perceive and see mind. And yet, When there are gaps in those thoughts and images, now there's no mind in that moment, and yet you still are there. So you can't be anything to do with mind, because when mind is stopped, you still are. So you're the witness of this nothing. And then at that point you say, whoa, there's a void. I'm kind of scared. I don't want to go to this void. There's really nothing there. And yet, if there's a void, then there's a perceiver of that void. So yet you're prior to the void. The void is appearing on your spontaneous presence. And there you remain. Then you open your eyes and remain there. And you're there. It's like there's no nothing. You're prior to beingness. You're prior to mind, ego, intellect. You're prior to body. You're prior to mind and thought and everything. And yet you're still in the world, walking and doing your things and what needs to be done, but not taking the touch of anything. How can you? You're prior to mind. So mind can't label and then project an intellect and say this needs to be this, or logic try to figure it out. You're there. You're just remaining with your selfless self, formlessly aware, just die, just die. And that's how you wake up. You can wake up 100 times a day if you need to. And the more you do that and you impress the reality, the less you'll be likely to go chase the illusion.
Yeah, that's the hammering away.
Yeah. Because you were hammered into believing that you're a body in a world and you needed to achieve.
Right.
But think about that. How many times a day was it impressed on you that you were somebody? That you had to do these things, that you had a whole life ahead of you, and you better plan your life correctly. You better do the right path and all this kind of stuff, and go to school and get a good job and marry and have kids and have this house and have these cars and all these other people. If they have nice cars, you better have nice. All this was impressed on you, hammered into you every single moment of your life. So the reality needs to be impressed in the same way.
That's why we need satsang.
Yeah.
And satsang, the highest satsang, is remaining there prior to beingness. In each moment as it arises, you continue to remain. When you do find yourself giving yourself away, and I am somebody else has been created, okay, wake up again. Wake up to the reality that I am formless. Accept your selfless self. There's no God, there's no Brahman, there's no Atman, there's no Paramatman, there's no master. Nothing is there. Whatever appears is appearing on spontaneous presence. It's the seen, I'm the seer. Everything that the seer sees is illusion. Only the presence that's seeing through the eyes and providing power to the eyes is reality. And that presence is formless. You are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. Body is not your identity. These things are impressed, and you can wake up like this 100 times a day. Oh, look, Maharaj says not to fall in the illusory ditch. It seems I'm in the illusory ditch. Let's mantra. Rather than think about the fact that I'm in the illusory ditch, I just notice it and then return with my selfless self. And I try to remain with my selfless self and not give myself away to the illusion, knowing that it's illusion. Why would I give myself away? Be with you always, as Maharaj always says. Be normal, be simple, be humble, be with you always. Because why would you want to be with the illusory stuff and away from yourself? And that selfless self-intoxication that I'm sure all of us have felt with mantra and remaining with the sense of presence, that becomes like the nectar. You want to keep drinking that nectar. You don't want to give away, because when you start to dive into the illusory world, that selfless self-intoxication isn't felt. It's not being impressed anymore. It's blowing your high, so to speak. You know? So don't allow that.
You're settling for the fool's gold instead of the real.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh no.
Are we good there?
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
okay,
fine.
Edgar? I thought you were going to say something.
No, you asked if are we okay here, right?
Yeah, because I was going to say, are we good? Any more
Yeah,
questions?
yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, this has been great. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you, Andrew. I'm glad you're able to be here.
Well, thank you.
Ladies.
It's great to be here too, actually, with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, also your whole discussion, that was very good too. You know, you're being there with the aging mother, and you know the whole. It was a very good addition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things that about activities, or there's something that if you're somebody, there's something you're going to do. There's something that happens. It's just basically it happens. There's not much thinking about it. You just kind of go with what you kind of like. I guess where you're feeling being called. I know that like Maharaj spoke about the archer. He just being a master. Just should I aim it this way or should I aim it that way? Which way to aim this arrow, and kind of like he just kind of like sense it and just go with it. Basically. So that's where the activities or the something starts from, I guess. Like as you say, I don't know if mine is totally spontaneous, but like I don't feel the burden around doing things anymore as I did at one time.
Yeah, the happenings are only experiences when you think about them afterwards as you did them.
Right.
In the moment, just, everything is pick up, drink, put down.
Yes, that's a good point, actually.
And Maharaj, just in a video that was released, Ramakant Maharaj _videos, it's, I think Alex does them, but he was talking about the fact that, okay, you're going to make a tea, and you do this, and you put this together, and you cook this tea, all of this to enjoy the tea. But once the tea is finished, it's finished. You're not thinking about the tea all day long. You eat all the process that was to do the tea. You made the tea, now you're drinking it, then you put it away, and that's it. And you don't sit there and congratulate yourself on making this tea. It's just, it's finished and it's done. And yet there was action that led to this, because there was a desire, so to speak, for tea. So an action using ego was created to make this tea. Now I'm enjoying this tea. I put it away and it's gone.
Yeah.
And everything is like that. The water is a very simplified version, but he talked about on this video about you making the tea. You're cooking and putting the hot water and all this, and you're actually doing something to make this tea, but it's spontaneous action. The result is I drink tea, but that's it. Like, it's not at the nighttime. I don't sit there and say, oh, I made such a nice tea today, or, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your selfless self made some nice tea.
Yeah, because it's just spontaneous action without the sense of doership, without experience, without experiencer. Spontaneous actions in the moment in a scene that's appearing and then disappearing.
And actually, there's really no such thing as the tea, or the person who's making it and all that sort of stuff, right?
Well,
it's all just basically, it's just a dream.
In all of it, yeah, it's like making tea in a dream. And that's why you don't take the touch. And like Maharaj says, if you kill 20 people in your dream, do you wake up and go turn yourself into the police? No. These things were happening in the dream. It was finished. That's it. And everything that you've ever known, the unknown came into existence in known, and you know this, and it will go back to the unknown. Everything comes out of nothing. Everything dissolves back into nothing. For a time, there's appearance of something in that nothing. The nice thing is, when you know yourself in the real sense, there had to be something for the something to appear to, and that's you.
Yeah, you're God's vehicle for knowing himself.
In this, yeah, I mean, again, God is your concept, but yes, because God is a name for your spontaneous presence.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah. It's hard to use words because they've got so much
exactly.
baggage.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
That's right,
and also saying like, I am God, that's kind of crazy because then that's definitely an egoistic sense of self that's saying, I am God or I am Brahman even. All of that is illusion
I know.
because as soon as you say something, then you've created a duality in I am this. Well, no, this, I am this. No, I just I. I'm not this, I'm not that, netty. Nothing can be myself that I say. There's no object that it can appear that is myself, and yet all objects that are appearing are myself. Everything is appearing on spontaneous presence. Without your presence, nothing could appear. And so all of this that appears, you had to be there for it to appear too. If there wasn't a you, then there can't be an appearance, because who would know this appearance if there wasn't a you? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good-
Stay warm.
Oh,
Indeed.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
see you next week, hopefully.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks.